welcome back to the Winner's Circle. I'm Cody. Unfortunately, we are not joined today by my co-host, Derek. He had a scheduling conflict. So today you're just getting me, and we are here with Cynthia, the third place finisher of Celebrity Big Brother. Cynthia, how are you feeling now that you're finally back to the real world?
You have no idea. I'm like so happy to just be on a computer talking to someone else that's not one of my castmates. I'm just so happy to have my phone back, to be outside, to have the sun on my face, to not have to clean the toilets this morning for the cast, to not have to cook. I'm still like, it didn't feel real yet. I couldn't even sleep last night. When I got home, I was like, wait, this is not my bed. This is not my house. What's going on?
It's so weird, the adjustment you have to make. What would you say? You just mentioned a little bit of like the cleaning up after your house guests, which was something that was a huge pet peeve of mine. I was like, you are grown ass people. Yes. Sorry for cursing. I'm like, clean up after yourself. Why do I got to clean your dishes? I got to clean the toilet. So what would you say the hardest part was? Maybe not that, maybe a little game aspect, but what was the hardest part of Big Brother for you?
Honestly, just figuring out how to play the game. Like I wasn't a super fan of Big Brother, so I didn't really know. I just watched a couple of seasons. You know, I was on, Real Housewives of Atlanta for 11 seasons. I thought, okay, maybe in some way this will prepare me for this. It didn't prepare me for that, for the show at all, of course. And just trying to navigate, like I think I did, if there's like a Big Brother don'ts, I think I did everything. I could write that book. Like I didn't know that we were supposed to keep the alliances a secret. I didn't know you could have more than one. I didn't know that was cool. I was like, I'm loyal to my alliance. I'm going to keep my word with everyone that I promised my word to. And, I'm a woman. I was like completely playing it so nice and naive. But at the same time, it was like all these things going on. So just understanding the game. I did not understand the game. So it's like a miracle that I made it as far as I did, honestly.
I mean, it's incredible. You don't give yourself enough credit, like just mentioning all the don'ts. It is not easy to get as far as you did. And like, if you rub somebody the wrong way, that could be all it takes to go home. And you obviously weren't doing that. There were a couple of things that you could have done with Carson, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but how amazing was it for you to come out and finally get in touch with your family, your kids? Like, I can only imagine. I didn't go in and have kids on the outside. So I loved hearing the perspective of a parent that did.
It was incredible. I don't want to compare the house to being in prison, but it was kind of like that in a lot of ways. So like, as far as my family was concerned, I just tried not to think about them, because if I thought about them, I would want to talk to them. I would miss them more. So I was like, okay, I got to just do my stint. I just got to do my stint. I can't think about anything. I can't think about anything that's going to make me emotional, because you have to be strong in the house, because you don't have any outlet to decompress ever. The only thing you can do is take a nap, like go to sleep. And I nap like 7 times a day just to get away from people. And it was it was a good time killer too. And also I have a mean solitaire game now that I started playing toward the end. But
I became the most incredible backgammon player of all time, because it was like, I was like, okay, this is all we can do. I'll play backgammon all day. It's so funny. It's the social aspect of the game is what I think is the toughest part, right? Like you have to kind of walk on eggshell. You can't tell people the alliances that you're in, because you don't want that leaking out, which is not normal. Like you live your life on trust, and you surround yourself with people that you trust, which I felt you had that in Carson. Your relationship with Carson was so incredible to watch.
Ride or die. I could not imagine myself in this house without him. I was so lucky that he was the first one to come in the house. I came in second. And of course I was like everyone else, I'm going to stay off the radar. I'm going to like just be invisible. I'm going to take my time with alliances. And as soon as I walked in, Carson was like, hi, oh my God. Do you want to like team up? I was like, oh, it's happening. It's happening already.
Game started.
Yes, I want to team up. Of course I want to team up. Went against everything I thought I was going to do in terms of that, because, you were, part of you are like, okay, is anyone going to ask me to be in an alliance? I want to be part of the cool kids club and get in an alliance.
Doesn't it bring you back a little bit? It almost makes it like high school. It's like, oh man, am I going to get in with the cool kids? Are they going to come after me? Are they going to invite me to parties? And it's like, we're adults playing this like back to high school kind of game. And it's like, it's hard. That takes a toll on you. But your relationship with Carson was so incredible. And what was it about Carson and you that made you click and trust each other? Because you can meet people in there that you're like, oh, we're working together. And then in 5 days, you're like, I can't even be around you.
Yes.
Like you and Carson were so good together. So what was it about you two that really drew that bond?
Well, I think why we connected is because we had the same gameplay. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to win this game, but not at any cost.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had some standards that,
Yes.
in the game. And he was on the same page. Like we both wanted to win, but we didn't want to have to like backstab. We didn't want to have to
Right.
beg and campaign and grovel and kiss a bunch of butt the whole time we were in there. If we were on the block. If we were on the block, we took it like a champ. We're like, all right, we're on the block. Let's go. You know what I mean? Toward the end, we started like willing and dealing a little bit when we started figuring out how that worked. But for the most part, we didn't campaign. If you put me up, I was up. I even survived a double eviction.
That
other
not
night,
easy.
which is crazy. As soon as I got off the block, I was back on it again in the same 20 minutes. I was like, what the hell is going on?
So double evictions are mentally draining, and they're coming because I heard you guys were saying they were talking about it in the house. And so it's coming, but there's no way to prepare for that.
No.
There's really no way.
No.
And the final question I have, this one's game related, super game related. I could talk to you about personal stuff because you seem just such a genuine soul and I love it. But game wise, and it goes based off of the trust, right? Because you and Carson had this bond and you trusted each other, and Carson came into power. And then Shanna was somebody that you guys thought you were working with, and all of a sudden it looked like she was flip-flopping. So we know that aspect of it because we saw your diary room sessions. But like, what was it about Shanna that you and Carson just couldn't trust to let her in to save her that week? Instead, you guys ended up sending her out the door. What was it about Shanna?
Well, I think Shanna's a super fan too. She really knew how to play the game a lot better than we did. And she was kind of like our leader. Like we didn't make any moves without Shanna. Mm-hmm. And once Todrick and Misha told us that she was in a Final Four with them and she was like working with them and like trying to put Carson up. And I was like super uber protective of Carson at that point. Like he was like my life. And I was like, nobody messes with Carson. He cooks, he cleans, he helps me with everything here.
Yes.
So once I heard that information, I really kind of lost it because again, this is my world. This is my reality. I'm in this house and all I see is what is being told to me. And I didn't, I felt like, Misha wouldn't lie to us and she was co-signing everything. This woman is a competitor for a living. And I think, if she won something and she was such a beast in the game, I was like, she would want to win it, clean. She wouldn't want to
lie to you guys. Yeah. But it's part of the game. And she had Todrick, who is a super fan also.
Which I found out later. I didn't know he was a super fan. He was running the whole game the entire time, which he played like big brother standards. He played an incredible game. I know a lot of people have some issues with him with some
outside of the stuff. Yeah, not game. We stick to game here. I don't want to touch on any of that stuff. This is all about game and strategy because you came out and your vote was strictly on what you saw in the house because you didn't get to see everything that was online.
I was one of the last ones to come out, so I didn't see what everyone saw. And I was so confused with why everyone was so pissed off. I was like, what is happening? Yeah. But anyway, because Todd and Todrick and Shanna were like a dynamic duo. They worked together. I think Shanna went. Misha went as far as she did because of Todrick, and Todrick went as far as he did because of Misha. Like they both worked really well together. But just getting back to Shanna, I again have not seen the show. I feel horrible that
of course.
Maybe she was working with them, but that's cool that she works with them. And I wish I had knew then in the house what I apparently what has happened on the outside here.
It's so easy for us on the outside to speculate because we're watching everything from the higher up and we're seeing everything that's happening in each conversation, but people don't understand when you're in there, you just go based off of what you're seeing. You don't see the other conversations. And so Shanna was flip-flopping, but my biggest thing was like, so I had you and Carson on my fantasy team. I don't know how it happened that you two were the duo that just were inseparable. But I picked the two of you for my fantasy, which I finished in second place just because whoever had Misha got a ton of points and they ended up winning. Right. But I was sitting there like, oh my God, please, Carson and Cynthia, just see what's happening. Like Misha was just putting up Carson last week. She was the HOH. Like Shanna, I know it seems harder to build that trust once it's broken, which we all know because in life it's the same. And in Big Brother it's amplified. But I was like, please just don't do it. Don't do it to Shanna. Because I felt you two, if you would have taken out like Misha that week, I would have been like, oh my God, I might win fantasy. Because Carson and Cynthia are going deep.
It would have changed the game. Like it was definitely looking back a mistake on our part. And again, we didn't really know the game that well. But at the time, I thought I was protecting Carson. I thought I was protecting the alliance. I did, start to get a little like curious about Shanna. A couple moves she made, in the alliance that I was like, wait, what are you doing? We had all agreed to vote to keep Teddy in, and at the last minute, she flipped the vote and didn't tell us. And I was like, wait, why wouldn't you tell us, give us a heads up that you're going to vote differently from what we agreed? And I just thought, like, once we agree, that's what it is. And you can't go rogue and do something else. And then I was told, well, she did that because she's working with the other team. And so I was like, oh my goodness. And then I also heard that she knew that Carson and I was going on the block because she was working with them and she didn't give us a heads up on that or try to protect us with that. And so at that point I was like, she's working with them. She's working with them. She's going to take us out. And I was like, we have to protect each other. We're all we have here. And, it ended up being, Todrick ended up being more of the mastermind than Shanna could ever be, apparently.
Yeah, you guys got this. It's not a bad thing. You got big brothered and you went to play the game, and that's how it goes. But you explain it very clearly now for anybody out there that maybe was questioning it. Like, Shanna did enough to break trust. And what I know and understand from a player is you break trust once, you never get my trust fully back. And I'm always going to question you, especially if you broke my trust in the first week, because it's like you hung me out to dry. That could have affected me for the rest of this game. So I think you shine some incredible light on that decision, because as a viewer, it's hard for the producers to show everything, like all those conversations, but you shine some light on it and I love it.
Yes,
but
that's why it wasn't hard for me to to believe what they were saying. I was like, oh, this makes sense now. Like, she didn't vote for Teddy. She said she was supposed to. She knew that we were getting put up on the block. She didn't even tell us. And we sleep in the same room with her. And we really looked to Shanna as our leader because she was really so invested in the game. And I was like, we didn't make any moves, but we're like, what should we do? What's the next play? So I was like, wait, she's not even with us. Yeah, she's working with somebody else.
It's very understandable for somebody that, for me, I played the game. So like, I completely understand that, because you break trust and you don't build it, and then it's never built. And then all of a sudden they come to you and they're like, hey, I'm here to help you right now. And you're like, what are you talking? What about the last 3 weeks? You didn't help me at all.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I say 3 weeks, but you guys were only in there for like 4 weeks. It's like, hey, 2 days ago, you were dogging us. So I completely understand that. So for future house guests,
you get paranoid too. You get paranoid when
that's what it does. That's what the house does to you.
A lot of meetings, a lot of whispering.
They pump the air in there. They pump some air in there to paranoia us all. That's what they do.
I'm telling you. So
that's a joke, by the way, everybody watching.
Look, I think after I watch everything, I owe Shanna an apology.
It's a game, and I think she understands that, because as a super fan of the show, it wasn't like you guys made that decision based off of what you were strategically thinking was going to benefit you. And so it's understandable, and people should. I shouldn't say I don't how people think is how they think, but it is what it is. What would you say? And last question, because I know you got to bounce around. What would you say to a future house guest? Maybe not a celebrity. You know what? Yeah, celebrity. A celebrity going in there similar to you. What would you say to them is something that they need to do the second they walk into that house and carry through the game?
I would say that they need to really go into the house understanding the game, because it's very confusing. Once you get in there, you don't really know how the game is played. But I would also say, they need to make the decision how they want to play the game. Like, I'm just not a down and dirty kind of girl. Like, I didn't want to win by, killing everybody off. Like, I actually, like that I pretty much was kept around because people liked having me in the house in the end. That's kind of who I am. So decide just how you want to play the game, because you can play. There's no judgment for people that play it dirty. If that's just how it is, that's just how it is. But just figure out some kind of strategy as to how you want to play it, because once you get in the house, things happen really quickly, and it's hard to try to figure it out once you're in the house. That's what I
absolutely. I mean, I made that choice going in my first time. You probably didn't see it, but at the end of the game, I had a choice to cut my co-host, who was my best friend, to win the money, because I thought he was going to beat me. And I was like, it's not about the money. I care more about our friendship. And I brought him over somebody who I would have easily beaten. And so you do. And I love that you had integrity in there. You were somebody, as I was watching, I was like, Cynthia, like I would love to go to Cynthia's house for dinner. Like I feel like it would be incredible. Like she would just be somebody, she would be an incredible host. She would make me feel so welcome. Like I loved you on the show. You were amazing. And not just because you're on my fantasy team.
Anytime.
I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for joining us here on the Winner's Circle.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
And welcome to the Big Brother family.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.